Firefighters in northwestern Connecticut were kept busy on Easter Sunday. It took 7 hours for them to put out a fire at a house in Warren that spread to brush nearby. Fox 61's Kayla Kate has those details.
Firefighters were called to Sunset Lake Road just after 2 yesterday afternoon. The fire tore through the house, and as you can see, the only thing that's left standing is the chimney. The fire also burned through the land, and at one point, the fire burned 1.7 acres of brush. On 36 Sunset Lake Road in Warren, precious memories are now buried under rubble. A fire took everything away from the man who owns it and lives there. It happened around 2 p.m. on Easter Sunday. Stacy Hagley is a next-door neighbor and knows the homeowner.
When he had gotten to the scene, I just went up and, told him how sorry I was, that his house, he just, all the neighbors were actually walking up to him, and he just was so overwhelmed. You could tell, heartbroken, overwhelmed, everything. She says she was home when she decided to go outside to smoke a cigarette, but didn't expect to see a house in flames. At first smelled like plastic, and then, that's when I said, I was going back in to check to make sure I didn't have something, plastic on my stove that was burning. Then when I went out the back door, because it seemed like the smoke was coming from that direction, then you could see the smoke, there was ashes, big ashes and stuff. She first thought it was a brush fire. Figured we would just take a ride, and then we noticed the house on fire, and it wasn't, the brush was burning at that time too, but I was more focused on trying to get help for his house. She rushed back to her house to call 911. By then there was, flames coming out of all the windows, so it had to have been going for a bit before we realized. Several fire departments responded, including Warren, Kent, Washington, and Litchfield. Warren Volunteer Fire Department says the house fire also sparked a 1.7-acre brush fire. Crews were there until about 9 p.m. to put out hot spots and make sure the fire didn't rekindle. We feel really bad for him that he lost everything, because they ended up having to take the house down last night. Hagley says the community will be there to support her neighbor as he gets through this tragic loss. He's really well liked in this town, so I'm sure people are going to definitely reach out to him and help him with whatever he needs. There were no reports of injuries, and the fire is under investigation. In Warren, Kayla Cade, Fox 61.